Okay, so we're going to be examining the test briefly that we did last week on redefinition of marriage. The direction was answer any two questions. Question number one, define marriage based on what God has revealed in the Bible. Let me start with Sister Hooper's answer. Go back to the beginning. She has written, marriage is an institution created by God Himself, where the joining of a man and woman to become one flesh takes place until the death of either spouse. It is also for the purpose of reproducing children and training those children in the way of God to respect, love, and obey Him in this physical world that we live in. Brother Solin answered the question as follows. Number one, marriage is God joining a man and a woman together so that they may become one flesh with the purpose of reproducing children whom they will instruct in the way of God, so that the earth may be full with God-fearing children. Then question number two. Let me start with Brother Solin. Let's see what the question asks. Outline the time when many countries around the world legalized same-sex marriage in opposition to what God has commanded in the Bible. So we're going to Brother Solin and look at his answer. The Netherlands in 2001, which is the first country to have legalized same-sex marriage. USA in 2015, Belgium in 2003, Canada in 2005, Spain in 2005. And let's see what Sister Hooper has said. She says in 2003, Uruguay legalized same-sex marriage. In 2013, France legalized same-sex marriage. In 2014, England legalized same-sex marriage. In 2001, Netherlands was the first country to legalize same-sex marriage. In 2005, Canada legalized same-sex marriage. In 2006, South Africa legalized same-sex marriage. In 2008, Norway legalized same-sex marriage and could also adopt children. Both of you got 100% on your test. Now I'm giving you a chance. If there are any questions or any comments on the test, you may ask them now. Sister Hooper, do you have any question?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, let us look at the new lesson then. I'll be sending you this lesson later on today. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, unit number 5, that's the unit we're on, the adverse effects or the bad effects of the atheistic worldview on moral issues. And now we come to a very controversial moral issue, the issue of abortion. It is so controversial that I have 3 parts on this topic of abortion. Yeah.
How you see in your screen in a big screen?
All right, what do you see on your screen?
It's small.
It's small.
Yes.
Yeah, mine is big. Let me just share it again. Okay, how is it on the screen now?
It's big.
Good. All right, so we're looking at the issue of abortion, and this is part one. The general objective is to examine the United Nations campaign to decriminalize abortion throughout the world. And by decriminalize, I mean to make abortion a civil right, that is an obligation of governments to facilitate women and girls who believe that they need an abortion, and not to punish them for the choice of getting an abortion done. So that is what decriminalizing abortion means. You're not going to punish the person for getting an abortion, but the contrary, the United Nations wants governments around the world to not only remove the penalty for getting an abortion, but to make it less difficult for girls and women to get an abortion. The specific objectives for this lesson are: one, at the end of this lesson, the students will have identified 4 reasons the UN is campaigning to decriminalize abortion throughout the world. Number 2, at the end of this lesson, the students will give 4 reasons abortion should remain a criminal offense. Now, here is the United Nations campaign to decriminalize abortion worldwide. Number 1, the United Nations is behind. Yes.
Yes, brother Buckland, I have this thing on my mind, so I might as well ask you before you actually get in. I was talking, could you hear me? I was talking to someone the other day about abortion, and this person was telling me they had sexual intercourse, and so afterwards they were going to use a contraceptive, and this, I think, because the person wasn't sure if well, the person was scared of becoming pregnant. So the person said they use this contraceptive, and this contraceptive, if you use it, I think, I can't remember if it's maybe 2 days or something after intercourse, because they say that the egg remains somewhere and whatever. And so that person used that, right?
Yes.
And then the person was saying that so the tablet that they use would thicken the something so that the sperm wouldn't do what it has to do or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it, because I really didn't know how to respond, because I mean, I don't know about a lot about the contraceptive and all of this, and what's used for in terms of how long you could use it before and after sexual intercourse and all of that, right? So I just listened to what the person said. Because actually the person was talking to me to more of clear the conscience, if I can say it more or less. Yes.
Okay. Yes, there is a certain pill that is advertised in Jamaica, and I'm sure in other countries. I think it is called after the morning pill. In other words,
she said the name of this one was Plan B, I think. Yeah, maybe it's a similar one. Maybe it's similar to that.
Yes. And the purpose of the pill is to prevent the fertilized egg from implanting on the wall of the uterus.
Right,
the wall of the uterus is that which has the nourishment for the fertilized egg to grow and to develop into an embryo and into a baby with all of its different body parts. So if the pill is taken, within a certain time frame, a short time frame after sexual relations, then it would prevent the fertilized egg from being implanted on the wall
Okay.
of the uterus. And in that way, it would cause the fertilized egg to die. The
Okay.
question that really needs to be asked and answered is, when does human life begin? Does it begin when the sperm has fertilized the ovum? That is when the male sex cell has penetrated the female egg and has caused it to become able to develop into a new human being? Or does human life begin when that egg is implanted on the wall of the uterus?
Okay.
Now, when an egg is fertilized by the sperm, what happens is that the information in the egg that has all of the instructions concerning the development of a person are joined with the coded information that is in the sperm, which has also all the information for the development of a person. There are about 23 chromosomes in the sperm and 23 chromosomes in the egg. And when the two are joined together, they have 46 chromosomes that have all the information that are needed for the development of a new human being. So even when there are no eyes and no ears, no mouth, no tongue, no teeth, no hands, no fingers, no legs, no feet, perhaps not even a heart, no lungs, there are present in the fertilized egg all the coded instructions for the development of these body parts. And so you have a lot of scientists now accepting that a new human life begins at the moment of conception, at the moment when the sperm enters the egg and the nucleus of the sperm unites with the nucleus of the egg, and all of the 46 chromosomes are present for the development of a new human being. Now, when you just have the instructions in the egg and you have no further instructions, a new human being cannot be formed. But when you have the instructions of the egg joined with the instructions of the sperm, it has all the necessary instructions for the development of a new human being. So the scientific fact is that the egg is already developing into a human being and already is a human life. And all it needs is the nourishment from the uterus, so that when it is implanted in the uterus, in the wall of the uterus, it will grow and develop all of these body parts, both internal and external body parts. So to take the pill after the act of sexual relations is really another form of abortion, because it ends
Another form of
another form of abortion. Because what has happened is that the newly formed life is now going to die as a result of not getting access to the wall of the uterus. And so we find that it will cause that new life to die. So it is another form of abortion. So I would say, in the light of that, that a person who takes the pill after the sexual relations has taken place is really trying to get rid of the new human life that has been begun.
Yes, if
Life
there is
begins at the moment of conception.
Okay.
Do you have any further comment on that? or any?
No. Thanks a lot for the info. I appreciate it.
Yes, okay. Brother Solin, do you have anything to add to that, or anything that you want to say that perhaps expresses a different opinion about the matter?
No, sir, I have a different opinion. As a matter of fact, that's what it is. Because
Yes.
what I've learned, even in biology, as soon as the two meet together, I don't know what the female one is called, but the spermatozoid of the male meets with the
Ovum.
egg, that is
The
the
egg,
egg of
yeah.
the female,
Yeah,
then the life has already begun. So anything you do afterwards to prevent that from developing is or can be considered as abortion.
yes.
That's what I would say.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let us see what the United Nations campaign to decriminalize abortion worldwide is all about. In number 1, it says, the United Nations is behind the present worldwide campaign to decriminalize abortion and to legalize it. In fact, they want all restrictions against abortion to be removed by all governments, and that women who have had abortions may not be faced with any punishment. They claim that giving women complete freedom to have abortion when they feel that they need one contributes to the fair treatment of women and safeguards their reproductive health. They criticize religious norms as supporting the traditions and countries of people being against abortion, and they say that the decriminalization of abortion will reduce abortion and safeguard the health of those who receive abortions. This was published by, and I put the word in quotation marks, experts from the United Nations on September 27, 2018. And if you go on this website below it, you will see the full text of the United Nations statement on the decriminalization of abortion worldwide. I've only summarized it. Yes.
I'm confused.
Yes.
How is it that they say decriminalization of abortion will reduce abortion?
Okay.
That is really true.
Why do you think that that statement is not true?
The reason why is because if you decriminalize it, it means that there is no penalty for the one who does it.
Yes.
Which means that people are going to be free to do it. And I want to believe that this is the time when they are going to be involved much than they used to do before. That's what I think.
Okay. And when you think of other activities, for example, if we were to get rid of any punishment for murderers,
Yeah.
let us say we don't imprison them.
Yeah.
Let us say we don't give them life imprisonment.
Yeah.
Let us say we abolish the death penalty and we say that they are completely free. I mean, no government is going to do that, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just theorizing that if they were completely free from any kind of punishment, then there would be nothing to make them afraid, which would hold them back from committing the murder. And this would result in an increase of murders. The same thing is true with prostitution. Right now in Jamaica, it is illegal for a person to sell their body for sexual relations. And it has a penalty attached. If this penalty were to be removed and prostitution was to become legal, then would that not encourage more girls and more women, especially those who are poor, and who think that they don't know how to survive other than selling themselves for sex, wouldn't that encourage more persons to engage in prostitution? Or what about drugs?
Mhm.
There are laws forbidding drug trafficking. They also call it narco trafficking.
Yeah.
And if these restrictions were to be removed, would that result in a lower sale of drugs? Or would that result in an increased sale of illegal drugs? So to say that to remove any restriction on abortion would result in less abortion is an illogical statement that is being made. Any other question on the United Nations campaign to decriminalize abortion worldwide?
No, sir.
Okay, now let us look at the reasons the United Nations wants all restrictions to be removed from women getting an abortion and all punishment to be abolished. And these are the reasons. Number one, they say that this contributes to the fair treatment of women. Number two, they say this safeguards their reproductive health in that they feel free to go to a competent doctor to get their abortion. Number three, religious teachings try to prevent women from getting an abortion, but not making abortion a criminal offense will actually reduce abortion. And number four, I have in quotation marks again the word experts. Experts from the UN are agreed on this. So these are their reasons for wanting abortion to be decriminalized. They say it is contributing to the fair treatment of women. So to maintain the punishment of women for getting an abortion is injustice towards women, they say. They say that women would be healthy if abortion is legalized and that there is no punishment for it. They say that abortion will reduce, making abortion legal and removing punishment from it will reduce abortion, and that the experts from the United Nations agree on all of these reasons. Well, let us look at each of these reasons that they have said is necessary in order to decriminalize abortion. Go ahead, Brother Saul.
Yes, well, the first thing that I was going to say is that, I would love to be able to ask them in what sense they say we reduce abortion if they decriminalize it. Now, the second thing is that they say allowing women to do abortion will it somehow like protect their reproduction health, which again, to my knowledge, not true, because it is not an easy task to do an abortion, and most time the girls or the women they die while having an abortion. The second thing is that when you get into that practice or that habit, let's say some of them, abort and you in that manner kill 2 or 3 children. Then after, when you are into doing something serious, into having a child, at times it causes issue because naturally it is a biblical view, but from what I heard, scientifically speaking, each woman have a number of child or children that they could be, that they could give birth to. So if it was supposed to be 3 and you give away these 3, you can't do anymore. That's what I heard. So this creates problem at times, and this is the reason why, like in Haiti, in our culture, if we find out a girl has been, into abortion, we would hesitate to be married to that person because she may have difficulty giving birth later on.
Okay, thank you for your contribution.
Yes.
All right. Now let us examine the first reason abortion should remain a criminal offense. And it is one of authority. That's a fundamental question, a question of authority. Who is the greatest authority? Is it the woman who wants an abortion? Is it the man who wants the woman to have an abortion? Is it the government of a country? Is it the United Nations? Is it God Almighty? Notice that the experts in the United Nations criticize religious norms as being partially responsible for supporting the view that abortion should remain criminalized and that it should not be legalized. So we need to examine the question of authority. God is the greatest authority. He is the creator. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 reads, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." He owns the creation. Psalm 24 verse 1 reads, "The earth is the Lord's," that is, belongs to the Lord, "and the fullness thereof," that is, everything in it, "is his, the world and they that dwell therein." He governs the creation. Psalm 47 verses 7 through 8 reads, "God is the King of all the earth. God reigneth over the heathen. God sitteth upon the throne of his holiness. His commands in the Bible are the final authority." 2 Timothy chapter 3 verses 16 through 17 reads, "All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works." Furthermore, God knows far more than all the experts in the world combined. What the world calls wisdom, God calls foolishness. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 20 reads in part, "Hath not God made foolish the wisdom of this world?" Since God is the greatest authority, it does not matter what a woman argues in favor of getting an abortion, nor does it matter what a man argues concerning a woman getting an abortion, nor does it matter what a government argues why they should decriminalize and legalize abortion. But what does matter is that God does not want any innocent blood to be shed. Proverbs chapter 6 verses 16 and 17 teaches that the Lord hates hands that shed innocent blood. Is there any blood more innocent than an unborn baby or child who has not done anything wrong? In addition to this, human life comes from God, and he has made human beings in his image and likeness. Genesis chapter 9 verse 6 reads, "Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. Why? For in the image of God made he man." Let me put it another way. Why is murder wrong? Why is any kind of murder wrong? Whether murder of a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, or a murder of the unborn child. Why is any kind of murder wrong? Well, let us read Genesis chapter 9, verse 6 again. "Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man." Why is it that God forbids the shedding of man's blood? For in the image of God made he man. We are made in the image of God. And whether it is a person who is born or a person who is unborn, we are still made in the image of God. And when that person's blood is shed, it is something that God has forbidden, and it is a serious crime. And so we find that God says that this is not right. It is wrong. Human life did not evolve, but it was created by God. He forms the baby in the womb, and he has a purpose or plan for the baby's life. Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 4 through 5 reads, Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. God is the greatest authority. What he says in the Holy Scriptures determines what is right and what is wrong. So it's not any man or any woman or any government or the United Nations or their experts who should determine what is right or wrong. It is God who should determine that. And so, since God has determined that abortion, which is the murder of an unborn human being, is a criminal offense, meaning an evil offense, something that is harmful to someone else, then God is the one we should follow. So the first reason abortion should remain a criminal offense is one of authority. God, our creator, God who owns us, God who rules over us, has already decided that it is wrong to shed innocent blood. Now, this brings us to the end of today's lesson. We are going to continue this lesson next week, God willing, and we will be looking at other reasons the UN has said that abortion should be decriminalized and examine that in the light of what God has said. For example, we'll be looking at the second reason abortion should remain a criminal offense is that it is a criminal act. We will also be looking, number 3, the third reason abortion should remain a criminal offense is that it is not an unfair treatment of women, as they say. The fourth reason abortion should remain a criminal offense is that abortion does not give any woman reproductive health, but it damages their reproductive health, as Brother Solin referred to some minutes before. And then we will look at a summary of what we have examined, that God is the greatest authority. God does not want any government to decriminalize abortion. Forbidding abortion is not being unfair to women. Abortion does not protect the reproductive health of women, but it harms a woman physically and psychologically. So next week, God willing, we will look at the second reason abortion should remain a criminal offense, and that is, it is a criminal act. Today, we have only looked at the first reason abortion should remain a criminal offense, and that is, it is one of authority. God is the highest authority, and he is against abortion. Okay, at this time we will close, but are there any questions that remain before we end?
No, sir. I don't know.
Any question, Sister Hooper?
No, Brother Buckland. That's all right. No question.
Okay. Now, if you do think of any questions, you may bring it.
Absolutely.
We're
Yes,
dealing with
sure.
a current controversial issue
Yes,
worldwide,
yes, it is.
and it is important that we know how to answer
Yes.
the objections that we
Yes.
give to abortion.
Indeed. Mhm.
Okay, then, take
Yes.
care.